So it's been a while. I think with last week's all the news from last week with signing day and with realignment and all that fun stuff. Other things, and even the Super Bowl, other things take a step back. And one of those things is coaching changes. But this is the time where really the Texas high school football coaching change carousel is maybe moving a little, it's getting up to full steam. You know, there's probably going to be a few more here in about the next month, but then it's going to cool off. And by about March 1, the lion's share of the changes are going to be done because you want to have your coaches, generally speaking, installed in time for spring practice because that's when you're going to start installing all your systems. So there have been a few in the past couple of weeks that because of all the stuff that we've been doing, we have kind of overlooked. And I think it's important to get to them and kind of get our thoughts on a few of them. First of all, so Terry Campbell was the head coach at Hewitt Midway. And this is how these things tend to work. Dominoes fall. You have Ronnie Gage leave Barbers Hill. Tom Westerberg from Allen leaves Allen to go to Barbers Hill. That means Allen's open. Mm-hmm. Terry Campbell leaves Hewitt Midway to go to Allen. That means Hewitt Midway is open. Well, now we know who Hewitt Midway is going to hire. They have hired Jeff Hulme, the head coach from Mansfield. And you may remember Mansfield as one of the many, many Mansfield teams that was super good this year. They were a squad that, they had their best season in school history. The superstar running back Kennedy Brooks was fantastic. They went 12-3, went all the way to a state quarterfinal or state semifinal. Mm-hmm. Quarterfinal, semifinal, mm-hmm. One of them. And so he leaves to go take over at Hewitt Midway. This is a guy who is a winner. You know, he's been able to build these programs, but he's coming into a program with big expectations.
Right.
Hewitt Midway's not this, plod along little job in the middle of Texas. It's a big job where fans of the Panthers expect to win.
Yeah.
And Terry Campbell had gotten them going in the right direction.
Absolutely.
It's now going to be up to Jeff Hulme to move that thing forward. So I think it's a good hire from Hewitt Midway for a guy who is a rising star in the Texas high school football world. I think that's a really nice hire. Staying in Central Texas. When Mike Spradlin left, to go to when he went to become the athletic director at Magnolia ISD down in the Houston area, that left a big void. So who are they going to bring in? Well, you see this more and more, and I'll tell you that as the weeks roll on and we get closer to as we get closer to football season, you're going to see, I think, more of this, which is hiring from within. Temple has promoted Scott Stewart, the defensive coordinator and assistant head coach, to the job, and I think that you are going to see more and more of that. You're going to see more internal hires, and especially at a job like Temple, where they've got a good thing going, and the culture is such that if you bring in a guy from the outside, you have to get that guy acclimated to the culture as opposed to the culture acclimated to the guy.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? If you're coming in and you're taking over a new program, like Sad Jackson is taking over the new program in Frisco. The guy from Manor is going in there. He can put his own imprint on that program. Temple has an imprint.
Right.
They have one of the most decorated imprints in the state. So you have to have a guy who understands the culture and understands the way that things go at Temple, and hiring from within with a guy like Scott Stewart, I think is probably the best thing that they can do at that point. So Scott Stewart, the new coach at Temple. We had news yesterday of a big job in the Dallas-Fort Worth area opening up.
Right. And
it was a bit of a surprise because he'd been there for so long. Jeff Jordan, the head coach at Garland, is leaving to go join David Beatty's staff at Kansas. As a Missouri grad, I am required by law to say how much it bothers me, how much I like Kansas's football staff. They're building guys who are young stars in the making up there at Kansas. And obviously the wins have not come about yet, but they're going to go, they're coming. And Jeff Jordan is a guy who has great inroads, extremely well liked in the Texas high school football coaching community. This is a guy who is a winner, a guy who has been at a big program in Garland with big expectations, and he's won there. The Owls this past year wasn't great, 6-5, but the Owls that is a big job that is open now out there in Garland. That is a showcase type job in Garland that I imagine that the line will form to the left for people who want a shot at the job for the Garland Owls. So Jeff Jordan gets a nice promotion into the college ranks. Good for him. We'll miss him. A guy that I have known for a while from my days at the Dallas Morning News. He's a good dude, and I'm happy to see him get this opportunity. Some small school changes that really caught my eye. First of all, Craig Barker. Craig Barker first got his name at New Boston when he was guiding the Lions to state semifinals, state championship games. He eventually moved on to Kaufman, where he led the Lions to a fantastic year this year, 11-2. But after 2 seasons, he goes 16-9 in 2 seasons, and now he's out the door because the job at Tatum had come open. Andy Evans, who had been at Tatum forever, he won a pair of state titles there. He took him to 3 title games. He won 115-40 at Tatum. He's now just going to be the AD, which probably nice. Good for him. Nice little job there. They go and they hire Craig Barker from Kaufman, a guy who knows this level, the 4A Division II level. He knows it very well. I think that Craig Barker, a great hire for Tatum, to bring him in, a guy who's got small school chops, a guy who's been really good everywhere he's gone. Another bit of a strange one, not a strange one, but whereas Craig Barker goes from small school to small school, here's a guy going from small school to big school, and it is Aric Sardinea. Aric Sardinea is leaving Daingerfield to head to Alief Elsik in the Houston area. Aric Sardinea is a guy who had been at Daingerfield for 5 years, won about 38-28. That they never quite got to the level of Daingerfield expectations, where those expectations are sky high. Nobody can be expected to really, live up to those things. But for me, I would look at this and say, all right, if you want that big boy job, here's an opportunity. Alief Elsik always has athletes. This is an athlete-driven area of the state in Alief, and Elsik has been kind of the bell cow for the Alief schools. So for Aric Sardinea, it's a great opportunity for him to make that step up and go into a real big job. Moving from 3A to 6A is a big jump. Interested to see what he does there with Alief Elsik. And finally, this is coming down the pike right now. Our friend Matt Stepp has confirmed it, that there is one lone candidate left for the job at Medina Valley. So to do another bit of moving things around. So Bruce McDonald leaves Grosbeck, the Goats. Go Goats. Leaves Grosbeck. Steve Hale, who was formerly at Hutto, now at Medina Valley, leaves Medina Valley to come to Grosbeck, which leaves Medina Valley open, and that appears to be going to be filled by Alice head coach Chris Soza. Alice, of course, a South Texas power. It's been he had left, kind of, I think, been reassigned after this year, after a couple of weird years where there were some issues there with Chris Soza and the school board. I don't really know particularly what the particulars of it, but he was a winner at Alice.
No question there.
He won big at Alice.
Yeah.
And
Tough
so
place.
if you're Medina Valley and he comes available, you go, you can come. That's
we'll
fine.
take you.
That's fine.
That'd be nice.
So I thought that was a really savvy move by Medina Valley that appears to be going official tonight, according to Matt Stepp on Twitter. First reported by, I believe, Carl Padilla in the South Texas area. So it looks like Chris Soza will be the new coach at Medina Valley. What other coaching changes caught your eye? Let us know at #DCTFLive. There are, of course, many, many, many more. We'll get to them kind of when all the dust settles. But they're always going to be churning. We'll try to keep you updated as best we can on Twitter at DCTF. And, of course, at TexasFootball.com.